welcome everybody back to today's class. In today's class, we want to see how we can use our protractor to actually measure angles. Do you understand? So because I'm going to use this book to show you how I'm going to do it. You're going to manage through actually, because of the fact that this protractor is so small that by the time I start measuring it, using it to measure on the board, you might not see it. You might not see the measurement, the numbers very well on this protractor because it's very small. So I'll try as much as possible to try to make sure that I focus on this book so that I can see. Do you understand? Now the first one I want to look at this angle here. There is this angle, the angle in blue line. We want to measure it. Do you understand? We want to measure this angle in what? In blue line, using our protractor. Like I told you, anytime if you want to measure, one of the things you need to first of all do is to make sure that your protractor is sitting in such a way that you have the 90 right in front of it like this. You can see, so that you don't go and turn it this way. You have to make sure it is in this way, such that you have your 90 clearly written in front of you. And after, when you make sure that is done, the next thing you want to make sure is this straight line here and this line here forms a particular point here. The straight line here is perpendicular to a straight line that is coming from up here. So from the point that you want to use to start measuring, this line here, you make sure that this straight line here falls exactly or sits exactly on this line. And then the other line that is standing, that is perpendicular here, that one too, you make sure that it sits or it is placed on this one that is here. And then you now start measuring. You could measure from the right to the left or from the left to the right. It depends on how the angle is actually placed. Now for this one that we want to do, for instance, let's see. Now can you see this very clearly? If you can see it clearly, now let's start measuring. So I'm going to make sure that this straight line sits on this line that is here. If it does, let's see. And then this line that is standing too, this one that is standing here so falls on this one, such that this point, the point at which this one and this one meet, I'll make sure that it falls on this point where these two lines to also meet. Now let's see. Now I think I've placed it to the best way I can from this side. Now let's start measuring. When you want to measure, you could, now don't forget that this is just the angle that we want to measure. The angle that is what painted in blue is actually what we want to measure. So now let's start measuring. You can see when you want to start measuring, see, you read it in tens, in multiples of 10, you know. So you have 10, 20, and then 30. Can you see it from there? All right, try as much as possible to focus on it so that you can see. When you start reading from the beginning of that blue line to where the blue line actually ends, you can see that you have like 3 lines in black on top of them. So you count in between the 2 lines, in between each of those black lines is 10, 10. So you count 10, 20, 30. Is that clear? That is what 30 degree. Do you understand? All right, so we want to measure this other one again. Like I said, before you start measuring, ensure that this line here at this base falls on this on this line that is at this base. Also the standing line here, the standing line on this 90 also sits or falls on this one that is standing here. Does that make sense? All right, now to measure this line also, because we measure this to be 30, so we want to measure this one also. So this is what we do. We try to place our protractor so that the line on the protractor actually falls on the line of what we actually want to measure, both the line at the base and the line that is standing. Now we can start our reading this way. Now let's calculate what the angle is. You see, so we can start like this. We have 10, 20, 30, and 40. You can see that it is falling on 40. Try your best to see how we place it. The angle is actually at 40 degrees. When you start measuring from 0, you can see it is calibrated or numbered in 10 in multiples of 10, starting from 0, 10, 20, 30, and then 40. It stops at 40, meaning that this angle here is actually 40 degrees. Now because I'm reading from this side to this side, it means this direction is anti-clockwise. Is that clear? It could be clockwise too, depending on where the placement of the angle is actually. Do you understand? All right, so please, I will implore you to please get a protractor and try your hands on questions that are on angles measurement. Now please do not forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you get updates as to anytime I was upload. Take your time to go through this question and actually put it into practice by actually getting a protractor, and try your hands on many questions on angles as possible. Is that clear? All right, until I come your way next class, I beseech you, I will ask you all to please push this content to as many people as possible by sharing on the share button. I'll see you in the next class.